Hi, I'm Ben Meyer.
And I'm Rob Wright.
And this week, we want to talk about a kind of controversy that's been welling up in the gamer community for the past week. One of GameSpot's longtime editors, Jeff Gertzman, was fired last week by GameSpot right after a review of his for Kane and Lynch came out. Now, this Kane and Lynch, he gave it a 6.0 score, which is a fair rating. That's pretty low as far as what GameSpot reviews games as. Not very flattering. Obviously, the publisher Eidos was not happy about that, and more and more stuff started to come out after that regarding just things that were a little bit fishy.
Little fishy. The site skin for Kane and Lynch advertising was pulled around the same time that Jeff's termination came to light, was made public. Eidos had been running large site skin Kane and Lynch ads on GameSpot, and then of course the reviews, the video review and the text review.
The video review was pulled. The text review a couple days after was kind of softened up a little bit.
It was pulled and then it was edited.
Yeah, and you know, you're a longtime follower of his, and you know that his reviews, could be he could be tough.
I mean, he could be tough, but he caught a lot of flack about a year ago for his review of Twilight Princess. He gave it an 8.8. I mean, if you're catching flack for giving a game 8.8, especially a game like Twilight Princess, I mean, I don't know what that says about the gaming community, but he took a lot of heat for that because everybody else was giving it 10s.
Yeah.
And he had the audacity to say, hey, it's not quite that good. And I would agree with him. I would even score it lower. But that's a different story.
Whole different story.
The controversy it erupted because the review was pulled, it went back up, the language was soft, and Jeff had been fired. And then the video review of Kane and Lynch was taken down completely, and it still has not seen the light of day. It has not gone back up on GameSpot, and I mean, it's just.
Well, GameSpot has replied to the charges and kind of did a point by point.
Yes.
This is the reason why. And some of it makes sense. Some of it is a little less plausible. The point for us is that we don't want to speculate too much because we don't have all the facts, and it's so easy on the web, on forums and on blogs to just go crazy with speculation. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's this huge conspiracy. And when a lot of the time there was just a series of bad decisions made that don't really add up to the big brouhaha. Yeah. But there definitely looks like there was something here.
I will say this. I mean, I know that we don't know what went on behind closed doors. We don't have any inside information about what went on at GameSpot. I do know that the decisions that were made here seem to be pretty ill-advised, and I don't think anybody can deny that there is a serious appearance of impropriety here in light of the controversy of the author being fired and knowing that the publisher complained about the harsh tone of that review, and then to see them change it. I just think that sends the wrong message. I mean, it doesn't really matter what else went on behind closed doors with Jeff, with Eidos, with GameSpot. That alone sends the wrong message, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of this, I think, is about sending the wrong message. It didn't help that Eidos was using on their website scores that were from previews of the game, not the full game. Definitely, I have to say it was misleading.
I don't know how you can say this lightly, but basically what they were doing was, I guess you would have to say they were falsifying because they were posting reviews on the site, on the Kane and Lynch official site, that were from E3 previews and demos from a year ago, and making it seem like those were that was the consensus opinion of the actual full version of the game, and they were running scores and kind of approximating scores with star ratings that didn't really reflect the actual reviews of the game. On the other hand,
the issue to me is, why can't there be differing scores?
Well, I mean, there are some scores out there for this game. People did score it much higher than Jeff did at GameSpot. Our own reviewer, Ryan Lord, gave it an 8. I think he justified it quite well. he liked the game. I mean, it affected him differently than another reviewer or another gamer. Does that mean
that should be okay?
That should be okay. I mean, does it mean that we're on the take? Does it mean that we're being paid off? I mean, some people have insinuated that it does. I mean, which I think is crazy.
God forbid somebody pays me.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
Talk to me later.
Yeah. But seriously, like, you know, but it's like you were saying, it's so easy for people to fling sort of accusations and insults and correct conspiracy theory with gaming. I mean, game scores and game reviews out there, they're just looked at with such skepticism these days. I mean, a classic example is when Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out. I played it. I was extremely disappointed. I didn't like the game. I gave it a 6.5. I was very hard on it, but I thought it was fair. Most people on the forum, if you read the forum thread, think I'm crazy. And they loved it. They said I was being way too hard. People said to me and emailed me saying, I can't believe this. Why are you biased against Valve? I'm not biased against Valve. I love Valve. But, you know, then it turns around like a week later or sometime later I do the Team Fortress 2 review.
High score.
I gave it a 9.5. I thought it was great. And then somebody who's a big Quake Wars, Enemy Territory Quake Wars fan said, you know, it was unconscionable for us to give a higher score to Team Fortress 2 than we did Quake Wars. And that just means that I'm on the take and that I'm being paid off by Valve. And I just think, you know, I hope that we get to a day where it's like, you know, reasonable people can disagree about how a game affects them. I mean, it is art. Whether we want to, you know, subscribe to that notion or not, I believe it is, and it's going to affect people differently than others. So
go. You know, I understand though where people are coming from because, you know, games they cost a lot more than going to the movies. You pay $50 for a game.
Yeah.
You don't want to read just one review. I prefer Rob's writing to somebody else's.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, you know, whatever, buddy. But that doesn't mean I only want to trust Rob because, you know, he could be just living a high that day. He wrote that review, and before I go plunk down the money, I want to read somebody else, see some other scores at least. One thing to think about is that, you know, they say all publicity is good publicity. So, you know, there's a chance that, you know, a lot of things were done poorly, but that there wasn't such a nefarious thing going on.
Yeah.
And maybe that there was just there were other things in the background that we don't know about, and, you know, good reviews, bad reviews don't usually influence sales that much.
Yeah,
so, and that's all they really care about.
And going back to the controversy, just to close it out, I will say that, you know, we've been doing reviews here at Tom's Games for about a year. We didn't used to do them. And now I know why. No, just kidding. We have never encountered any sort of external pressure, commercial pressure, advertisers or game publishers or anything like that. You know, people have asked me, has this happened to you? And I can say honestly, it has not. We've never experienced anything like this. That said, the GameSpot thing, I mean, it definitely looks bad, and I can understand people being critical of what's gone on there. It opens up the floodgates, and now you have a lot of people questioning the entire process across the industry of how games are reviewed and whether, you know, reviewers are on the take. So it's a cross we're going to have to bear for some time, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Ben Meyer.
And I'm Rob Wright.
And we'll see you again next time.